ladies and gentlemen. I want to consider this a very special segment of the Midday Magazine and turn our attention to the book Brothers Forever, the enduring bond between a Marine and a Navy SEAL that transcended their ultimate sacrifice. Is a powerfully moving book. Brothers Forever, an incredibly inspiring true story of best friends, of brotherhood, of heroism, of what the very best of America is all about. It's about U.S. Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion and U.S. Navy Lieutenant SEAL Brendan Looney. Both, ladies and gentlemen, gave their lives for what they truly believed in. Our country, the love of our country, that sacrifice, that brotherhood. Brendan and Travis represent truly in my heart what is the heart and soul of what makes this nation great. And you want to talk about the greatest generation? Well, they are today's greatest generation. Please welcome the authors of this inspiring book. Please welcome our guest, Colonel Tom Manion, United States military retired and father of First Lieutenant Travis Manion, and nationally syndicated columnist and revered writer Tom Saleo. Gentlemen, it is such a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome, my friend, and it's a pleasure. Hello there, Tom. Can you hear me?
Phil, good morning. This is Tom Manion.
Good morning, Colonel. And Tom, can you hear me as well?
Yes, I can. Hi, Phil. Good morning. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitations. I need to begin by embracing you, Colonel, and your wife, and please accept our heartfelt sympathies and our prayers for both of America's heroes, for your son and for his dear companion.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell us, Colonel Manion, take us back to the day they first met.
Brendan and Travis were at the Naval Academy together. And, they were there when 9/11 hit, which is, coming up in a few days. So they met actually a little before that event in 2001. So I think they partnered up that year, and they became very, very close. The 9/11 event down at the Naval Academy was a real wake-up call for everyone down there, including Travis and Brendan. And they spent the next 3 years preparing for what they were about to do. They both graduated in 2004. Travis went off into the Marine Corps, and Brendan initially Naval Intelligence Officer, but then got a waiver to enter into the SEALs. And, they both went out and served this country proudly. They're both leaders. They both led from the front, but just great guys, the type of people that do anything for anyone. And it's for them. They represent the best of what America has to offer.
Yes, and you do as well. Thank you as well for your service and dedication to our country.
Thanks, Phil.
You betcha. Tom Saleo, helping as a co-writer. I mean, you are a nationally revered writer. When you and Colonel Manion met to sit down to write this, it must have been a daunting task. How did you begin this story in your own mind in writing it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, Colonel Manion and I first got together after a column that I had wrote about Travis and Brendan shortly after that, and Colonel Manion was already thinking about for years about putting together a book about his son, and then when they tragically lost Brendan, the Manion and Looney families, he knew right away, as he could tell you, that there was an even bigger story of sacrifice about this generation. So when I came into the picture, I really started with that groundwork that he had already put in place, and we worked together to come up with a plan of how to learn more about these young men from the brave men and women who served alongside Travis and Brendan, and then also prior to that had attended the Naval Academy with them. And the whole process was really extraordinary because those young men and women really went above and beyond throughout our research for us in helping us understand what Brendan and Travis were doing, both on the battlefield, but also as they had grown into the incredible leaders that I hope comes across on the pages of this book. So it was a really extraordinary process.
And the title itself, Brothers Forever, the enduring bond between a Marine and a Navy SEAL that transcended their ultimate sacrifice. What a powerful, powerful title this is. Who came up with that?
That would be Colonel Manion, and I'll let him speak more about that, but he actually uttered those words when his son was being reinterred at Arlington National Cemetery. So Colonel, please elaborate on that.
Please do.
Well, we moved Travis down to Arlington. He was buried up around our home. My wife wanted him close. You're in shock when this happens, and
of course.
And we came to find out that Travis actually told several people that if anything happened to him, he wanted to be in Arlington. But my wife really could never come to grips with moving him, but we never got a stone. We never really settled him. We had a wooden cross, and we kept talking about, are we going to move him to Arlington or not? And then here on September 21st, 2010, we lost Brendan. We went down to the Looney's home, and when Brendan's wife, Amy, came into town, when she was asked where she wanted Brendan, she said, well, I want Brendan in Arlington next to Travis. Mm-hmm. And it was finally at that point that my wife, Janet, said, okay, maybe this is the time to move Travis. And Arlington was great. They made accommodations, and within a week, we had reinterred Travis and moved him down to Arlington. And then that following Monday, Brendan was buried right beside Travis.
Yes.
And so, when we reinterred Travis...
The following is a special...
Two guys.
Yes. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
No, as I thought about these two guys, and as I was giving my...
At the August training camp.
I'm sorry.
Travis's grave, the only way for me to sum it up was, as I was in the midst of all these heroes in Arlington, was Warriors for Freedom, Brothers Forever. And that was sort of how I closed my talk. And, I think it just resonated. It's a few words, but powerful, and it says a lot about this generation, not just Brendan and Travis, but about everyone there in Section 60 and all the sacrifice and everything that's been provided to us by these guys.
Did you have to get much clearance from the military to get any of the information? You detail the battles with the skill of truly a soldier who was right there. Did that require clearance? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we had a lot of support from the Marine Corps, and we actually had a lot of situation reports. Travis was he was nominated for a Navy Cross and received a Silver Star, and in that summary there was a lot of detailed information about what was happening over there when he was there. And then, as Tom said, we worked with a lot of guys that served beside him and filled in the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And with Brendan, we actually did work with the Navy SEALs, and they were very helpful in providing support. And we did have to go through and get clearance, but they really supported us as well. And we talked to a lot of the guys that were side by side with Brendan. So that sort of filled it all in for us.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, Colonel Tom Manion, United States military, retired, along with Tom Sileo, nationally syndicated columnist. Colonel Tom Manion lost his son, and they have written an inspiring book, co-authored, Brothers Forever, the enduring bond between a Marine and a Navy SEAL that transcended their ultimate sacrifice. It is available online at your favorite bookstore right now, and you are so right with 9/11 this week. This is such a timely story to share with us, and I'd like it if you can describe what was the basis of their love for this country. Nowadays, I don't even want to get into it. Nowadays, it is very disappointing to see what goes on in this nation nowadays, but your son and his friend, Travis and Brendan's love of country had to have a foundation, a source somewhere. Can you describe that?
Well, I think, it certainly starts with their families, and I know the Looneys are a great family, and they love this country, and they love everything that it's about, and we as well. I served 30 years in the Marine Corps, and it's certainly something that Travis appreciated growing up.
Right.
But I think, the big event for this generation was, in fact, and we've talked about this in the book, was, in fact, 9/11. And I think it was a real wake-up call for everyone, and especially those guys that had that foundation of patriotism, because they realized how special it was, what we had here as a country, and they realized that they were going to be called to step forward and fight for it.
Right.
And I think that just sort of even made that patriotism and love of country even stronger, after that fatal event, 2001.
Tom Sileo, for you, was this the first time you ever approached a book of this nature?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, absolutely. It's the first book I ever worked on, in fact, and I'm very grateful to Colonel Manion for giving me that opportunity. And just to add on to the great point the Colonel just made, I think another thing that really stands out, and it certainly inspired me throughout the process of writing the book with him and will continue to inspire me, is that Travis and Brendan are two young men who could have done whatever they wanted in life. And they chose to step forward and put their lives on the line and serve this country. And their families, as we chronicle in the book, made enormous sacrifices as well. And I speak to different heroes of the military community every week, in the course of writing a newspaper column, and I see this time and time again, that these young men and women, despite the enormous sacrifice involved, continue to step forward, and really under the same rally cry that we made sure to put in the book, Travis's words, "If not me, then who?" And I think really that's what this story and the story of this generation since 9/11 comes back to.
Absolutely. If you could, Tom Sileo, who did you have in mind? And Colonel, you as well. Who is this book written for?
Well, I think it was written for all Americans, and particularly to honor those men and women I just spoke about who have stepped forward since 9/11 and in previous generations as well, to sacrifice and say, "If not me, then who?" and live that out every day. And I think this book is for that generation, that post 9/11 generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
This Colonel, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and please elaborate on "If not me, then who?"
Sure, Phil. I think Tom summed it up well. This book is for everyone. This book is for all Americans, and And for me, it was an opportunity to maybe provide some insight. The more we go forward with an all-volunteer force, the risk we run with not having the rest of the country as well connected with the makeup of these men and why they serve and the sacrifices and the families and pushing forward. And so we tried to do that in this book, is to share that and to provide those insights and hopefully help the rest of the country better appreciate and understand the military community and why they do what they do.
Sure.
And, related to that, and if not me, then who, comment that Travis made was getting ready to go back for a second tour. And when my son-in-law said, hey, maybe kiddingly, if I trip you and you break your leg, you won't have to go back. And Travis turned and looked at him and got very serious and said, hey, Dave, if not me, then who? If I don't go back, who's going to go in my place? I'm the one that's most prepared.
Dear God.
And then several months later, when we lost Travis, and Dave came up to my wife and I and said, hey, I need to tell you this story about what he said to me before he left. And, my wife took those 5 simple but powerful words.
Yes. And
started the foundation, the Travis Manion Foundation. And today, 7 years later, we're having a huge impact for our military community, and continues to drive people and inspire people to give more. And you just don't have to be in uniform either. It's not just about those in uniform. You can ask yourself that question every morning. Get up and make a difference in your community. You can make a difference in your school, wherever you are. You can drive yourself to make an impact and make a difference.
Surely. The Travis Manion Foundation, can you tell us a little bit more about its purpose and what it does and how folks can access it?
Sure. Its foundation is there. We support our veterans, of course, as they come back. We have support for them, transition services, and we work on internships with them. We have support for the families of the fallen. So we talk about honoring the fallen by challenging the living, and we get Gold Star families, and we go out and we make an impact. We go to West Virginia and build homes. We've been down to Kentucky. We've been Guatemala. We have climbs that we just had over 10 women down in Peru climbing a mountain and just healing, going through the healing process. Now, the last part of it is we have a character program, and we go out and we get veterans in front of schools, and they talk about character, and and how much it matters. And it's incredible because it's grown. We have what we call the 9/11 Heroes Run, sort of partner with that, and we go out community by community and try to rally the communities to come together. And I'm actually coming back I was out at San Diego. We had a run here yesterday. The day before, I was in Arizona. We had a run in Houston. Over 50 communities around the country ran the 9/11 Heroes Run, or will run, in the next few weeks. And, it's just making people remember. Again, it's sort of related to what I talked about with the book. It's making sure that people in those communities know who these people are that serve them and remember the service and the sacrifice.
Amen. You are a colonel, retired United States United States Marine Corps. Colonel, there could not be a more fit person on the face of the earth, a stronger person, both physically and mentally prepared than a colonel in the Marine Corps. Juxtapose that with how does one endure the pain that families go through? We have Gold Star families listening to us right now. How does one endure the pain after losing a son or a daughter or a father or a loved one?
Yeah, well, life's never the same, and it's certainly your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
But what we've done is tried to make a positive impact, to keep pushing on like my son would have, or like Brendan would have, and try to at least make a difference in their honor. And that's why we talk about at the foundation, if you want to honor the fallen, if you truly want to honor them, then let's challenge others to make an impact and do good for the world. We certainly have enough that's going wrong around the world. And, we need more awareness and more people stepping forward to do positive things. And that's what we're trying to do. And
yes.
I guess for me, that's really been, and for my wife, it was, part of the healing process to help us to sort of focus our energies in other areas to try to help others. And we believe that's something that at least can help. Never goes away. The hole's always in your heart, but you can at least get up every morning with a purpose.
Tom Saleo, nationally syndicated columnist and revered writer, along with Colonel Tom Manion, my special guests, co-authors of Brothers Forever, the enduring bond between a Marine and a Navy SEAL that transcended their ultimate sacrifice. It's available online. Why was Travis's mother, Janet, buried in Arlington Cemetery?
Well, because she wanted to be in Arlington, and that was a request that she made right before we lost her. Mm-hmm. So I felt it was important to make that happen. Of course, as a career military retiree, I'm eligible to be in Arlington as well, and so we'll be side by side down there in Arlington.
Yes. How did you make the side-by-side burial at Arlington National Cemetery possible for your two boys? How was that done?
Well, we contacted Arlington. We told them we had this request that we wanted to move Travis quickly. Travis, by nature of his service and sacrifice, qualified for Arlington. And, it was just a matter of accelerating the process. And the Looneys had some friends that they called, and I called some people that I knew. And the Department of the Army, who runs Arlington, and Arlington themselves, they were great. They understood the importance of it. And, they made it happen for us. So we'll forever be appreciative of their support.
Yes.
And then we had that following Memorial Day. The president came only a few weeks after the Navy SEALs captured and killed Osama bin Laden. A few weeks later, President Obama came to Arlington and talked about Travis and Brendan and them being side by side and their service and sacrifice as an example for the rest of the country. I think that's the other, maybe backdrop for the story, and why we wanted to write the story is to get that word out there to the rest of the country, them as an example. And so the president, after his remarks, came down and visited Travis and Brendan. And, it was a pretty emotional day for everyone.
Absolutely. This was about a month after the SEALs killed bin Laden. I remember that. The president and his Memorial Day address. I remember that clearly, not knowing that someday I would meet his father. Tom Saleo, what does this mean to you? Every job needs to be done.
Yes, well, I think having the opportunity to work with Colonel Manion and then also get the chance to speak with the family members and of course the heroes who served with Brendan and Travis. It really was the culmination for me personally of an effort that to tell these stories on a weekly basis through a newspaper column. Again, had the honor of speaking with so many Gold Star family members and veterans and active duty service members as well.
Sure.
And the daily inspiration that they provided me and in writing this newspaper column every week, I hope it came across as well in the pages of this book, because again, as Colonel Manion said, and I think we've been emphasizing, it's not only the story of Travis and Brendan, but of this entire generation of heroes. Yes. And it just meant a tremendous amount to have the opportunity to include some of those insights within this story.
Now, Tom Saleo, I want you to remove your hat as a respected, nationally syndicated columnist. I want you to put that aside for a moment. And I know that you have written articles that report. I know this, and you've done such a magnificent job doing it. What I want to know is, what have you learned personally about life after going through this experience with Colonel Manion? What have you personally learned about life itself?
Well, thank you for that, Phil. What I would probably turn to is a quote from Brendan that we made sure to put in the book, which is, if you make the most of what you're doing, there's no way to regret what you're doing. And of course, along with if not me, then who? Those are lessons that I've tried to apply to my own life. I'm helping my wife raise a 3-year-old daughter, and when she's old enough, I'm going to hand her a copy of this book, and say, learn not only about Travis and Brendan, but about Brendan's wife Amy, about Travis's sister Ryan, and about all the family members and heroes that are in this story, because I think if we all followed their example and applied the lessons from this story to our own lives, I think the world would be a much better place.
Absolutely. Colonel Manion, you said 1% are military families, and the 99% of the rest of America need to get to know what military families go through and why. I want you to take that challenge now and present it to our listening public here.
Well, it's really nothing more than having a much better appreciation and understanding. There's veterans in every community, sure. And I think it's important for the average American to be more aware, to go out and help the veterans and their families, and they can help them just by being aware of who they are and what they do and why they sacrifice. They can help by coming out to a 9/11 Heroes Run. Yes. They can help by volunteering in their communities to support efforts for veterans, and by the way, first responders that serve in uniform. So it's just a matter of we get so caught up in this country. We're moving so fast. We've got the internet, and I think people lose track of those that are out there that are really protecting our country, our freedoms, our communities. And it's just take a moment to step back and to think and reflect on those people and what they do for us. And if it's just that, that's a great start. And that's what we're hoping for with this book, that it will give people a better picture, and it will provide them with insight and maybe make them more aware and better appreciate those that serve.
Absolutely. I can't begin to thank you both for this very special moment together, talking about Brothers Forever, your wonderful book, but also you want to talk about transcending all of the young men and women of this country who show their love of country, their brotherhood, all of the sacrifices. They are embodied in this book. And for that honor, there's just words that cannot express our gratitude. Colonel Tom Manion, Tom Saleo, for what you have done, thank you. Onward. And being 9/11 this week, this is the best way for us to honor all that they sacrificed for. Thank you so very much to both of you.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for having us here this morning. And, we've got a website for the book, brothersforeverbook.com, and your listeners can visit there, and there's links to purchase the book, and there's all sorts of background and information about the story. So I hope they'll visit that, and hope they'll read the book, and if they are inspired, pass it around and tell others.
I feel in my heart that Travis and Brendan's spirit will always surround you and will always make sure that their enduring bond helps push forward all that you are doing as well.
Well, I feel them with me all the time, so I'm sure they're helping.
God bless you both. Colonel Tom Manion, U.S. Marine Corps retired, and by the way, Chairman Emeritus of the Travis Manion Foundation, along with Tom Saleo, a very popular, nationally syndicated columnist. Thank you once again to both of you.
Thanks again for having us on.
Thank you.